Our Vincentian family knows so much about health care. Whether it's the Daughters of Charity or the Society of St. Vincent de Paul or some other branch of our family, we are reaching out to those who are sick and suffering. For us here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we run a homeless shelter for women and children. Our St. Vincent de Paul shelter does a marvelous job of reaching out to women who have lost everything but the title mom. Often, I'm amazed with the number of women that come to us that haven't been to the doctor in years, and children who have never seen a doctor or got immunizations. In Louisiana, our Medicaid program is called Le Chips. It's an easy program to enroll in so both mother and child can receive the health care they so desperately need. As a Vincentian family, how can we respond to the needs of those who are sick and suffering? We can use technology. When I run into a person that I know is in need of health care in Louisiana, I just pull up health care. You can Google it, you can Safari it, you can use your smartphone to pass this information to people who I'm constantly amazed. They're not aware of some of the programs that are out there. As a Vincentian family, we are called to respond, and we've done so throughout the many years since Vincent founded our Vincentian family. We're called today by Christ Himself to use this technology to make health care available and accessible to all those who find themselves in a situation of chronic illness or suffering. Now, as a Vincentian family, we will discuss what we can do for those who find themselves sick and suffering and in need of a loving, compassionate hand.
The need and desire to access health information is universal. Imagine a pregnant woman experiencing pains or a parent with a child who has a high fever. In developed countries, information is often readily available through the internet, and expert advice is a phone call or a short car ride away. For poor individuals in less developed countries, the situation is quite different, such as here in the Upper East region of Ghana. In rural areas such as this, health facilities are the only source of reliable expert advice. Local myths are prevalent, some of which can be damaging to mothers and children during pregnancy. Transport is scarce and unaffordable in these areas. Road networks are poor, so health facilities may be a long walk from home through the baking heat. Basic services may be scarce here, but the simple mobile phone is increasing in abundance. Mobile phone ownership is growing rapidly in even the most remote communities. The Mobile Technology for Community Health project, known as MOTEC, is aiming to create a world in which these mobile phones enable poor individuals to access health information that is reliable, affordable, and relevant to their lives.
We are called as a Vincentian family to be mobile in our ministries. Again, Jesus' main message to His disciples was to be mobile, to go out in the world and spread the good news. We can use technology that Peter and Paul did not have as disciples. We are called as modern day disciples to use this technology to make our world a better place. Now, as a Vincentian family, we're going to talk about how we can put mobile technology into our faithful ministries that serve those most in need.
Yeah, it's opening up so many doors that we wouldn't have thought of.
Right.
I often talk about the transition from silent movies to talkies to black and whites to color, and each one of those opened up new possibilities. But you got to get used to it. It's kind of like when we first got to computers, we basically used them as typewriters and didn't realize the power of word processing. And now to think back onto word process to typing, it just it's jarring. But it takes it a while to realize the potential that it's not a fancier version of the previous one, but it opens up new vistas.
And using social media and using mobile phones as a way of fulfilling their mission, as to deepen the mission, because I think that way we're really going through the times and we're even jumping ahead, realizing that we can use this for our ministry, and that Vincent and Louise would probably use their cell phone too if they were living in the 2000s.
Advocacy has to start with changing the hearts and minds of the people that are Vincentians. That oftentimes we'll have folks that are sort of buying into a national stereotype of those in need as being ones that are trying to take advantage of benefits or government, or overly dependent on these kinds of services, or just a whole bunch of stereotypes that you have to try to overcome. And so I'm using the social media and mobile devices as another channel of communication, and am having some luck with it, but it's not as prevalent among this audience of Vincentians as I was hoping it would be.
And I think there's that time and place when it's like, okay, I think this is time we talk about this. This is not an issue for the email or texting. It's like we need a real conversation. I don't think those technological tools can take the place of direct communication. It's more like a connector between those times, I think.
You're in good company there. Both Pope John Paul II and Benedict have often stressed the fact that it cannot take the place of face-to-face communications. But they both also stress that it is, in a sense, a gateway to communications. It opens the door to face-to-face communications.
And I that's why I sort of jumped into Twitter. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure exactly why I'm going to use it, but I know that it's given me another channel to help communicate with people. And there are folks that are reading them and retweeting, and so it's out there. It's just one of the many ways that we have to think about communicating, at least with the audience that I'm dealing with, as I said, which primarily is still internal. We're still dealing with Vincentians and trying to get them organized.
What are the most common objections that you have run into, or fears that people have?
Well, in part of the training, we do a session on overcoming barriers, and a lot of the common ones that you find is that people just don't know about it. People have heard it's like, oh, if I'm on social media, I'll have no privacy. Everybody will know all my details. There'll be a risk to the reputation of the charity or organisation because people will be talking about us, and what if they say bad things about us? And also the big thing, to think of the things that you are doing because you've always done them and how you could maybe save time through social media. For example, if you always send out a paper newsletter, could you move that online, saving all the time you've got with volunteers stuffing envelopes? And it's things like that. But I mean, I do recognise that there are a lot of fears around it, but they don't actually know about it, that have just heard media stories of like horror stories of when things go wrong, and want to actually sit down on a computer and actually go through it and see, oh, we could do this with it, or we could do that with it, that then they see this could be good for my organisation. There is this sort of generational gap where people who are what might be called digital immigrants, such as myself, we didn't grow up with it. We're still more comfortable with email, whereas the digital natives are email? What's that?
They'll use it sometimes in professional life, but basically they're texters and they are Facebookers. That it's interesting to see that confirmation coming up over and over again.
It's easier to spend more time in communication or communicate more often with the cell phone and the smartphone, because you can do it in little bits as things come up, and more regular communication instead of being restricted to a certain time and space at the computer, which has been very good. I mean, here I am, and I want you to be with me here.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I want you to be here with me. Yeah.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Right. And I think that's where the interpersonal connection comes. It's not just impersonal information, but it's sharing my life and my experience with someone else.
No, it's actually building community in ways that we could never have dreamed of building community before. So lots of possibilities.
On behalf of our Vincentian Family Virtual Meeting Steering Committee, I've been asked to thank you for participating in today's virtual meeting. You have given us a very special gift, the gift of yourself, the gift that only you can give. I'd like to take this opportunity to also thank Father John Frund for all of his work and dedication in coordinating today's efforts. I would also like to thank Monica Watson, Melissa Gibbolero, and Sister Patricia Evanek for their dedicated efforts. I also want to thank Steve Lee and Catholic Life Studios in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for donating the studio time necessary to put together today's virtual meeting. We really want to thank you for participating. We hope that you feel the fire and charism of Vincent, Louise, Frederick, and Elizabeth. We hope you follow in their footsteps and bring the bright light of Christ into the world, whether it's through the mobile device, through your hands, but most importantly, help us to spread the good news to people who desperately need a helping hand.